Hello, everyone, and welcome to Viking Virtual's training for the Downdraft. I'm your moderator, Margaret McSweeney, and I'm so glad you're joining us today. A few items before we begin this training. First of all, please remain on mute during the call. If you have questions, please utilize the chat function to ask questions during the training. All questions will be answered at the end of the training presentation. For your information, we will be recording this training session. I'd like to introduce you first to Sue Bailey. She is the Director of Go-To-Market Strategy at Viking Range. Nicole Cooper, who is the Showroom Manager at Middleby Residential's Irvine Showroom. Jackie Rothong, the Executive Chef and Brand Ambassador, Middleby Residential's New York Showroom. And Jamie Larita, the Executive Chef and Brand Ambassador for Middleby Residential's Chicago Showroom.
Thank you so much, Margaret. And today we're really talking about downdrafts, which will really help me out because I am doing such a great salad that reminds me of being in Italy. And I'm reducing balsamic vinegar. So when you reduce balsamic vinegar like I'm doing, and I've actually got my Viking 5 series grill going at the same time, you get a lot of fumes that come off of the balsamic. Some fumes that really affect your vocal cords if you're trying to speak like I am right now. But this is a delicious recipe, and a downdraft would really help me out and does help me out with ventilation when I'm doing preparations like this. So to talk about the salad, I've got a beautiful burrata here on top of some heirloom tomatoes. And then I've got my peaches grilling here on my Viking 5 series grill, which look really beautiful. And then I'm gonna slice those peaches up and I'm gonna put it right on top of my my salad, which is so summery with heirlooms and peaches in season. And then I'm gonna drizzle it with this balsamic vinegar. So let's all have a good time today. Welcome, and we have a little audience today. It's Bring Your Kids to Work. I've got my two dogs here, Woody and Ted, keeping me company.
They are adorable, Jamie. They are adorable.
Thanks, Sue. Take it away.
All right. Thank you. I'm so glad your kids could come to work today, Jamie. Thank you all for joining us. I know you guys are like me. I am very excited about this training because as we talked before when we did the regular ventilation, it is where most of us as salespeople, we lack the knowledge of. So I'm thrilled that we're able to do this today. We've got some special guests, which I'll introduce you to in a little bit. So I'm going to just talk for a couple minutes on downdraft and features. Then I'm going to pass it off to our special guest. So as most of you guys know, we build about 88% of the Viking products in Greenwood, Mississippi. Okay, so then another 8% of our products are built by sister Middleby companies, which leaves about 4% of our product that we do not build either ourselves or by a Middleby sister company. And one of those manufacturers that we work with, we have the fortunate ability to work with Broan. And Broan helps us produce the downdrafts and the ventilators that we use for all of our blowers that we can't produce in Greenwood. Now, here's what I want you to know. The Viking Broan relationship has been going on for longer than the 23 years that I have been there. When I joined Viking, we already had a great relationship with them because we were buying the blowers from them. And then also we started doing the downdrafts not long after that. So they truly, guys, are one of the best partners we have. And we love Broan because they are the epitome of those who know about ventilation. So today we're going to be focusing on that downdraft. Like I said, I'll spend just a couple minutes going over the features. Then I'm going to turn it over to my good friends Kevin and Brian, who are with Broan. They're going to get into those more technical aspects, those things that some of you send me emails about, what to know. How can I vent it? What do I use this accessory for? All of those things. We're going to spend the majority of the time looking at those or talking about those things. So I'm just going to talk real quick, guys. As you can see on the slide there, we have 4 downdrafts. We have a 30, a 36, a 45, and a 48. Remember that 45 downdraft is for that electric 45-inch cooktop we have in the 3 series line. The other ones, the 30, 36, and 48, they'll work with any of our cooktops range tops, ranges, which Kevin's going to talk about in a little bit. So we're going to move to Nicole, if I'm not mistaken. Nicole's going to help us with this downdraft. They've got a great, that's such a pretty shot. I'm looking at all those refrigerators and ovens on that wall. So you can see that Nicole has the beautiful 5 Series induction cooktop with a downdraft behind it. When you guys that have been with us for a while, remember the other downdraft we had, which Brone also made for us, only had about a 9-inch rise. That is dramatic. I'll tell you what, look at that. So that it comes up 18 inches, you guys. And at the touch of the button, you can see how smoothly and quickly it rises to the height of 18 inches. So that's not a small pot she has on the back there. And it makes it look small with as tall as that downdraft is. So the great news is, even if you're using really large pots on the back or on the front, you've got a great capture area that's going to happen. The innovative technology that we use allows the downdraft to provide almost 100% capture. So you guys have always heard me say that we always want to use overhead ventilation, but this is one of those times where, and Jamie will talk about it if we have time, from the design of your kitchen, that if you need to not use overhead ventilation, this is going to capture, it can capture up to 100% of everything you have ongoing there. One of my other favorite features is the light. Nicole's going to turn the light on for us. Look at that. It just brightens up the surface so well. It's a 2-level powerful LED light bar. And guys, it really does illuminate the entire surface, even the pots on the front that you have there. It's a full view. The color, because some of you guys get into this, the color temp is from 2800 to 3200 Kelvin. So it is a very pure white, just a very beautiful light there. Our other downdraft did not have that. So this is one of those features you don't find on a lot of downdrafts out there. There are 4 variable speed fans, 4 variable speeds of the fan, so that you get efficient ventilation no matter what you're cooking. So you can just press it and it will make the different speeds happen. The other thing I love, which you guys know I love about our hoods, is there is a heat sensor. So this heat sensor is going to detect any excessive temperature, and it's going to adjust to the highest speed automatically to prevent any damaging effects from heat or anything else. So it will help increase the life of the product. Nicole has been touching that capacitive touch control panel. It's very easy to use. I love the blue backlit buttons that are on there. They're easy to read icons. You've got the 2-level lighting, the 4-speed blower control. You've got the filter reset at the bottom, which is another great one there. So when the filter needs to be cleaned, which I'm not going to have Nicole pull it out, but you just pull this open and then the filter's down there. You can put it in the dishwasher for easy clean, and that filter will let you know when it needs to be done. There is also, guys, just one other feature I want to talk about is there is a convenient 10-minute delay shutoff feature. So you can run that downdraft for an additional 10 minutes just to remove any odors or heat or anything else you have, and then it will automatically shut off. So I think that is a great feature of the downdraft. So no, that was real quick. What I want to do now is I am going to turn it over to our friends at Brone. We've got Kevin with us, who's the National Account Manager, and then Brian is the Senior Global Category Manager for Ventilation. So I know Kevin's a little new to Brone, but he's been a great partner with us, and Brian has been at Brone for quite a while. So these guys know exactly what they're talking about. So Kevin, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Absolutely, Sue, and thank you so much first and foremost for having us today. What a wonderful opportunity we have to go ahead and go through some of the details and some of the, like you said, more technical features of some of the options that we have with regard to installation of this great product. I also have to echo that the relationship between Brone and Viking has been outstanding, just like you said. So we're really excited to be here and take this opportunity to let everybody know some of these options so that we can empower the sellers that are coming into contact with this item each and every day. So as the slide suggests, there's quite a few different options to how you can go ahead and install this specific item. So you have your front below the floor, side exhaust, side below the floor, rear, recirculating, and then your vertical exhaust, which I'm excited to tell you more about. So the first installation here is very straightforward guys, and it's one of the more popular, I would say, kind of the standard for how these are generally installed, right? So as you can see, you have the downdraft in this specific setup. It's in between two cabinets, and you have it right in the middle there with the blower, as you can see, mounted on front of the downdraft. And then it goes into the ducting below. So very simple, no accessories required on this specific setup. And you can go ahead and continue that ducting down below the floor and then out of the home. So really great, straightforward option. And I'll talk a little bit more about one of the just kind of little tweaks to the front exhaust installation that I really like. So as Sue said, you know, above the countertop, so to speak, this is just a great downdraft, really nice unit. And it's very, very quiet, industry leading in that aspect. But one of the things that you can do to save a little bit of room within the cabinet is to go ahead and install this in front of the downdraft and then have the blower below the floor. Now, you know, common sense will tell you that the blower being a little bit further away from where your ears are, so to speak, would indicate that it would be a little bit quieter. So just a nice little feature there. And you just need one small accessory to make that happen. That's the RCVD 8 or 10, which goes ahead and makes sure that the exhaust is able to connect to ducting of 8 to 10 inches around. So a lot of times, you know, when you're installing this specific downdraft, and really any downdraft, what do you have in front, right? You have the cooktop, and then you also have many times an oven below that. So you're not going to be able to go ahead and install this, this specific exhaust in front of the downdraft because there's no room, right? So we've thought of this, our engineers, you know, spent a great deal of time creating an option where you can go to the right or left of that downdraft. So you can go ahead and install just a small transition that takes the rectangular duct to a circular one, again for 8 or 10 inches round. And then you can go ahead and move the ventilation or the exhaust rather to the right of the downdraft or to the left. In this specific instance, there's a cabinet there, which is great. You have the housing there and the blower up top. And then again, you can do this either to the left or right of the downdraft and of the range. And then, of course, you know, I don't want to overcomplicate this. Similar concept to what we were saying before. You do have the option to go ahead and install another transition that goes and brings the blower below the floor. Makes it, again, you know, very quiet unit in general, but makes it a little bit quieter and maybe saves some room in that cabinet. Just a little bit extra space for you. Okay, so obviously, you know, the next option, if you can't go left, you can't go right, you can't go right in front of that downdraft, we give you the option to go behind. So similar installation, you just put a small transition on there on the back. It takes it from, excuse me, a rectangular exhaust to the circular and then into the blower and down into the ducting below and out of the home. So it's, again, you know, I don't want to keep saying the same thing over and over here, but really very similar installation process. It just sits behind the downdraft rather than to the front or either side. Now, if you're sitting in an apartment, I don't know how many people we have on here, but I sit in a one-bedroom apartment, actually just a stone's throw from where Jamie is in our Chicago showroom there. But you know, we don't quite have the ventilation that a lot of homes have, right? So in some homes and some setups, and then of course in an apartment like I live in, I don't have that type of duct and that type of ventilation that I can go ahead and release from, you know, and get it out of the home, so to speak. So what we thought of here is a recirculation product. So what you do is you would install it, as you can see with the downdraft. In this case, it's installed in front, and then you connect the ducting to this recirculating kit that essentially filters the air and then releases it back into the home. But again, it goes through several filters so that you're not just recirculating that dirty air that we're trying to avoid. You're purifying it and essentially, you know, making sure that it's filtered and before it's released into the air. So we do have this recirculating kit, which I'll go through a little bit more on the accessories here in a little bit. And then last but not least, we do have the vertical exhaust. So this is something that we didn't necessarily have right when this product came out, but the market kind of steered us toward this solution. Right, so like I said, you know, sometimes you don't have room in front, sometimes you don't have room to the left or right of the downdraft, nor do you have room behind. So we've created this option where you install a transition directly on the bottom of the downdraft, and then it goes down, just straight down, straight under the downdraft into the ducting and the blower below. So really, really nice option. Again, it's a very similar transition that you're going to install on the bottom of the downdraft. It goes vertically, straight down, so you don't have to take up any additional room than you might have in some of the other options that we presented. Oh, perfect. And then as I indicated, you know, some of these options that, really anything outside of having the exhaust on the front of the unit really requires some of these accessories, which are really, really great and simple to add. So the extension cable, fairly straightforward there. The AXD5 is going to be a 5-foot extension. We want to make sure that we can get power to the unit, even if, you know, the setup of the kitchen, it doesn't necessarily allow it. So we have an extension there. The recirculating kit I just touched on, that's where you can go ahead, and if you don't have ducting that comes up toward the downdraft, you can go ahead and install the recirculating kit, and that makes sure that the air is filtered. And then, of course, we have our rectangle transition. So this was, again, on any option that was not the option to have the blower and the ducting installed on the front of the unit, you would need this rectangle transition to make it go left, right, behind, or below the unit. Now, this is actually something, this end cap trim extension that I actually saw in one of the initial photos of it was a nice slide that we had of all 4 downdrafts. You could see on the countertop that there's a little bit of an extension that we have, and this is the extension, just a close-up view of it, that goes ahead and kind of makes a nice, clean, flush design on top of the countertop rather, so that when the downdraft is down, so to speak, not up collecting air, you have a nice flat surface. It's not, you know, really bulky and weird looking. It looks like it belongs on that countertop. So this is really nice, and we do have to remember that you do have to order these separately. And then also, another really nice feature is the duct extension, which is on the bottom of this slide. And this is really cool, right? So I indicated a situation where you can move that exhaust to the right or left of the downdraft. This lets you go possibly, you know, a couple of cabinets over if your ducting beneath the floor kind of pushes you that way. So you may have the downdraft in the middle of a specific countertop, and then it would go, you know, you would install below, and then you can use this duct extension to take that a couple of cabinets over, so that you can essentially make it work with you know, whatever kind of setup that you need, if you need to kind of move this a little bit further down. So really, really nice feature there that we see pretty often. And I think that's essentially all I had today. And certainly, Brian, feel free to jump in if you have anything to add, or you know, we'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Hey, and so a couple things I want to throw out there too. Great job, Kevin, by the way, is that this downdraft can be used with a range. It is probably the biggest question I get from people, even though we say it and we show it that way, but it can be used with a range because of the flex blower and all the different abilities to install it. Correct, Kevin?
Correct.
Yeah. So that is just one of those, that was the main reason that we really loved this, is now we can install it with the range. Couple things just to make sure, which Kevin did hit on, but I'll make sure you realize it. The flex blower is a 600 CFM blower. Jessica, if you can go back to one of the installs, I just want everybody to kind of see, because I think we show the flex blower. I want to make sure everybody kind of saw the size of it, because that is another question that I get. It's going to be in the one next to the cabinet, I think. Yeah, there, or they show it in the one next to the cabinet for me, if you can. shows it, maybe not there. Yeah, there. So you can kind of see, I mean, it's not a small piece, guys. So you do have to make sure, as Kevin said, that you have the room for it, but there are also the external 900 and 1200 CFMs. So that, you know, depending on your duct run, everything that we've talked about with ventilation, make sure that you're using the right blower for the application. If your customer's got a 48 and they're going to cook a lot, we're definitely going to want to get them with a 1200 CFM blower in order to take care of everything. The end caps that Kevin was talking about that we showed as the accessory, guys, the downdrafts do ship with a set of end caps. You would order that VACE 36 if you are pairing the downdraft with a Pro or a 5 Series cooktop. Those 5 Series cooktops are 3/4 of an inch wider than like the 3 Series cooktop. So the downdraft's not going to line up. So if you're doing a 5 Series cooktop, you are going to want to order the VACE 36, which is going to make the end caps longer to match the width of that. One thing that I don't think we did mention, if you are doing the downdraft with range or range top that has a griddle, you won't be doing the downdraft, is the way I should say that, with a range or range top that has a griddle, because of the height, the 18-inch downdraft, what happens is when you use it with a griddle model, the downdraft is actually so powerful, even with the 600 CFM, that it actually sucks the flame out, because of course we use a gas flame on the griddle. So it doesn't bother the burners or anything else. It is just that gas griddle that we've had the issue with. So that's why on the website, when I make the statement that you cannot use it with a griddle, that's the reason why. It's just because it pulls that out. So I wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of that. Kevin or Brian, anything else you guys want to add that you thought of as I was talking?
You know what? I think you covered it pretty well, and you know, we have Brian on to answer any questions that you know, we might need an expert for. But I think you summed it up pretty well there, Sue. Thank you.
Yeah,
Sounded
and
good. Sounded good.
yeah, we'll get through the. I see that some of you guys have asked questions, Vaughn and Maria, Frank and Ren. So we'll get to that in just a minute at the end. But I want to go back to Jamie, because Jamie, you know, I don't like peaches, but that was looking pretty awesome, what you were doing.
Well, Sue, I have to tell you, thank you, Sue. So you might like peaches after this. So when it comes to the grill, I have to say this does such a beautiful job, the Viking 5 Series range. And right here, I've got these beautiful grilled peaches, and they sit right on top of your burrata, just like so. So it's the combination of the salty and sweet and creamy, cold and warm that makes this dish so wonderful. And then I have this amazing, beautiful balsamic reduction right here that we put on top, and you get that extra salty, sweet balsamic here. And I think, Sue, this might change your mind. But you want to know something, guys? That is an amazing downdraft. I love the LED lighting. It's so beautiful. And as far as design is concerned, I think it's really nice to have options, right? When we talk about, I think ventilation is one of the things that goes by the wayside, especially when people come in looking at ranges. But it's such a really beautiful, well thought about design. And I would put that in like a home, for example, that had a gorgeous view. Maybe they have a beachfront property and they don't want something like this that would block the view. From a design perspective, it's just sleek and modern and cool looking enough to make you want to get it. It's like one of those things that if you don't see it and you don't understand it, you won't really think you would want one. But I think it's a beautiful piece, and so well done, and such a high performance piece. And with design too, I just want to remind everyone about the Delta hues, the colors that are new from Viking. People are looking at them and going crazy for color. So when it comes to design, Viking's got it in the bag.
Excellent. I think we'll go ahead, Margaret, I'm going to put you off for just a minute. Let's look at the questions that we have in the chat, since we know there are a couple in there. I mean, we do still have a couple of minutes. Vaughn Hobbs, you might want to unmute yourself. I want to make sure that I understand what it is you are asking. Vaughn, do you want to ask the question instead of me trying to read it from here? I don't know if Vaughn can get off mute or not. Anyways, so what he says, guys, is what is the metal box that's attached to the inside of the cabinets on most options? If you don't use the extension end cap, what does it look like without it? I can answer that second one, Vaughn. So if you don't use the extension end cap, you're going to have that other end cap on there, and it's just not going to come out as far as the cooktop does. It's not going to line up, for lack of a better something. Brian, you or Kevin want to take a stab at what the metal box is attached to the inside of the cabinets on most? Is that the flex blower, I'm assuming?
It looked like the blower. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yes, I do think that is, now that I read that.
Either that or he's talking about the control box that also moves along with the flex blower.
Okay.
So, because yeah, it's flex, that also can be moved so we can clear that whole space in case we want to put something in front of the downdraft.
Good, good. Maria asked, can we use it with all ranges 7 series and 60-inch 5 series? Well, you can't use it with a 60-inch because there is no 60-inch downdraft, so that's not going to work. You can use it with a 7 series. I do, as I do with everything when it comes to downdrafts, I want to caution us just to make sure that it is different than overhead ventilation. As I've told my children as they were growing up, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. So just make sure that your customer is going to be happy with the performance. This one is a much better performer than most downdrafts, so I think they'll be happy. But you know, if there's somebody who do a lot of, you know, frying or pan searing or something that's going to create a ton of smoke, they might want to think about the overhead ventilation. But yes, it will work with all of that. And then Ren asked, I thought we could not do an inline situation on the flex blower. I don't know if I know what that means. Do you guys know what Ren's asking? Or Ren, do you want to ask that? You got it, Brian?
I'm thinking that that's the vertical exhaust. If that's what I'm assuming.
I don't see a picture or his question, but he asked the question. He didn't think he could do an inline application with the flex blower. The flex blower is designed to be installed like a quasi inline blower. So, you know, you can have a piece of ductwork come down away from the blower, and then it can be up to 8 feet away. Because remember, the blower is kind of limited by the length of that cable, so about 8 feet away. So if you can think about it, you can go down underneath the floor, maybe go like 5 feet away, 6 feet away, and then that's where it can sit. So that's kind of like that's a quasi inline blower in that application.
Got it.
Okay.
Great.
Sue, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can, Ren.
It's Ren. Okay, so that was exactly what he just, so I didn't realize, I thought we could only go left or right or in front or behind, but I didn't know we could go underneath the floor to put the blower under the house.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yay, right?
No.
Jessica, do we have time to go to Nicole? If she might can remove her end caps. But if we don't have time, that's fine too. If we have time to get out there to her. Maybe. There we go. So see, yep, nice job. So the end caps do ship separately, so you have to put them on there. Does that make sense? And so put that end cap back for me, because you have yes. So see how that end cap comes, because they have the VACE 36, so it does line up with the cooktop. If the ones that shipped with the downdraft, it doesn't come out that far, if that makes sense, because these cooktops are slightly wider than the others. All right, good. All right, Margaret, I think we got it back to you just in time.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sue. And thank you, everyone, for attending today's presentation. Please make sure to catch Chef Jamie and Chef Jackie on Viking's Facebook Live feed for amazing cooking videos. Also, please make sure to tune in for our next Viking virtual training on Thursday, July 30th at 3 p.m. Central Time on the Viking Virtuoso. Look for a follow-up email with assets from today's training, as well as Jamie's grilled peach caprese salad. And an exciting reminder that we are hosting virtual showroom appointments out of our Chicago and Irvine showrooms. visit our websites or talk to your Middleby Residential District Sales Manager for more information. So this concludes our training today, and I don't think there were any other questions, right, Sue? So someone had asked, there is a good PowerPoint someone once shared with me that includes a lot of these slides. If anyone wants me to share, let me know.
Yes, we'll
great.
send it out. And I'm sorry, I was talking. I didn't take my microphone off mute, so I apologize for that. So yeah,
No
Brown did a
worries.
great job. Brown did a great job on that PowerPoint. Jessica, thank you for getting it all there. So yes, we will get it out, guys, because it is very, very helpful. Agreed.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, everyone, and have a great week.
Thanks. See ya.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.